Donald Trump's promises. Now, tonight for the hour, we're going to take you through the very specific policy issues that President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to you, the American people, that he will act on once he's sworn in as the next commander-in-chief. Now, over the course of the presidential campaign, we had the pleasure of interviewing Donald Trump many times on this program, and he laid out a very specific agenda to fix America's problems and address the challenges this country faces. We're going to have highlights of those big interviews, but first, Donald Trump campaigned all across the country, speaking directly to you, the American people, about what he will do as the next president. Let's take a look.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
We now have ISIS in 32 countries all over the world, but we're going to knock them out. We have no choice. We're going to knock them out, folks.
Real change begins with immediately repealing and replacing Obamacare, a disaster. A Trump administration will also secure and defend the borders of the United States. We will build a great wall. We are going to save the Second Amendment, which is totally under siege, and appoint justices to the United States Supreme Court who will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Our jobs are taken just like nothing because our politicians are stupid people. They don't know what to do.
Now, one of the top issues that Donald Trump talked about this election was fixing America's broken immigration system and securing the borders. Let's take a look at how Mr. Trump promised to address those issues. Let's start with, I guess, your signature issue on immigration, which is you are going to build the wall.
Yeah, 100%.
And I see this. Who's going to pay for the wall? All right. Here's my question.
What has been interesting, I've been watching over the last week or two, and they've been saying, oh, well, maybe he won't build the wall, maybe he won't.
Jeb Bush said that. Jeb Bush said he'll never build the wall.
Well, he said that a long time ago. I think people now realize we're building the wall. It's going to happen. It's 100%. It's simple. You know, I tell the story all the time. The Great Wall of China, 13,000 miles long. This is 1,000 miles that we have Caterpillar tractors to build, okay? This is 1,000 miles. It's 2,000, but we need 1,000. And it's so easy to do. And it gets higher and higher and higher every time somebody says, I'm not going to do it.
Here's an important question. I think the time frame, if you get elected President of the United States of America, according to the crowd, when? Yeah. Okay, but here's my question. How long would it take you to build that wall? Start to finish. You're a builder.
I'm very good at it, almost immediately. Now, if you would believe it, you know, they were going to build the wall a while ago, not so long ago, like in '06, and they couldn't get environmental impact statements. Can you believe it? Okay. Now, we got lucky because it was such a little wall. It was such a nothing wall. No, they couldn't get their environment. Probably a snake was in the way, or a toad, or
a turtle,
something, or
could have been a turtle
that you probably never heard of.
Yeah.
But something was in the way. And you think of China, in the South China Sea, they're building this massive fortress. They're building this massive military fortress, and they're digging that water. They're digging. And you know what happened? They said, let's do it on Sunday, and on Monday morning they started. Mm-hmm. So in our case, look, that wall's going to start very quickly. I got, as you know, and we have a lot of the Border Patrol. We have a lot of the Border Patrol agents here tonight, and we have 16,500 Border Patrol agents. They know the border better than anybody. Their job is much easier without Trump, because all they have to do is let everyone just keep going by. These are unbelievable people. They see what's happening. They see what's coming in, and they want it stopped. They want people to come in, but they want the people to be vetted. So here's the story. So they endorsed me. First time in the history of the Border Patrol agents that they've endorsed me. One other thing we have to say, and Mexico will pay for the wall. They're going to pay for the wall.
Let me ask ask you about that. Vicente Fox, and by the way, the current president of Mexico said he would meet with you. Will you meet with him?
Yeah, sure. I'd meet with him.
You would?
Absolutely. I'd meet with him.
They're not going to write you a check. How do you get them to pay for the wall?
Well, there are many ways. Look, on trade, they're absolutely killing us. They're killing us. They're killing us at the border. They're killing us on trade. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of close to $60 billion a year. So right there, you can build the wall because the wall's a fraction of that. So, you know, right there. We lose a fortune on trade, and that doesn't include the drugs that are pouring across the border, which is probably double or triple or something.
I have covered the border now for years on this program. I've been from the Rio Grande to San Diego and everywhere in between 12 times.
Right.
I've been down I have seen drug warehouses. I have seen tunnels. We'll show some of the pictures. My next question is, and this is where you seem to, in the last week, be revisiting the issue of sending everybody back that is here illegally. Tell us where you stand on that.
We want to follow the laws. You know, we have very strong laws. We have very strong laws in this country. And I don't know if you know, but Bush and even Obama sends people back. Now, we can be more aggressive in that, but we want to follow the laws. If you start going around trying to make new laws in this country, it's a process that's brutal. We want to follow the laws of the country, and if we follow the laws, we can do what we have to do. But John, let me tell you, so important. We've got some great people in this country. They shouldn't be here. They're still great people, all right? But we've got some really, really bad gang members and some horrible people.
Start with them.
Those people are going out day one. They're going to be the first order I sign. They're going out day one.
All right, but I know this question has come up a lot. What about people that work hard, have been here a long time, they own homes, they have their property? And this is a question everyone's going to want to answer. What about them? Do they have to go back, or would you reconsider that?
We are going to follow the laws of the country.
So that means they go back.
Follow the laws. And we're going to see who people are. We're going to see how they've done. Do you believe in a merit system, Sean? When people come in, as an example, do you believe in a merit system? One of the things that's very unfair with leaving people is that you have years and years of people waiting online. They've gone through a process, and they filed legally. They filed, and they're great people in some cases. I guess in some cases, maybe not. But you have really great people wanting, and so proudly wanting, to come into a country. And now what you'd be doing is you'd take people away from that line. And it's
Is
really
there any part of the law that you might be able to change that would accommodate those people that contribute to society, have been law-abiding, have kids here? Would there be any room in your mind, or you, because I know you had a meeting this week with Hispanic leaders.
I did. I had a meeting with great people, great Hispanic leaders, and there certainly can be a softening, because we're not looking to hurt people. We want people. We have some great people in this country. We have some great people in this country. So, but we're going to follow the laws of this country. And you know, we have, what people don't realize, we have very, very strong laws.
Yeah, but
Nobody
Obama doesn't follow them.
No, they don't follow them. Yeah. But we're going to follow the laws.
We have 11.3 million illegal immigrants in the country now. Now, you said immediately last night, all criminal aliens out, day one. Correct? All right. Now,
by the way, that one's so simple. You know, there are some things where you sort of feel bad, and this one with we have these killers in this country.
Right.
They're heading up gangs. You go out exactly.
They lost their children right here behind you.
I mean, those guys. If we ever find them, if I'm president, oh, we're gonna be trouble. That's trouble. And you know, the other thing, and you're going to bring up some Border Patrol folks, and they're incredible people, but it is so hard for the police to, if somebody's protected between the sanctuary city nonsense, we got to get rid of the sanctuary city. We're protecting these people.
And coming up next on the special edition of Hannity.
As part of our plan to bring back jobs, we are going to lower taxes on American business from 35% to 15%. We will become a rich nation again.
Donald Trump, he promised you, the American people, that he will fix the economy and create millions of new jobs. We're going to show you his plan to do just that, and then later tonight.
We're going to get ISIS out. We have no choice. We're going to get them the hell out. We're going to knock them out. It's going to happen a lot faster.
It'll be happen a lot faster than people think.
President-elect Trump, he pledged to voters that he will take out ISIS and defeat radical Islamic terror. That and much more as this special edition of Hannity, Donald Trump's Promises, continues.
Today for Black Friday, looking for deep discounts. An improving economy is the reason for the growth in sales from last year. The National Retail Federation predicts total sales for the November-December shopping period will be just under $656 billion, much of that coming from online sales. Black Friday online sales topping the $3 billion mark, Thursday hitting almost $2 billion. Heavy volume and technical issues slowed Macy's website down, but the store said it was still taking a high volume of orders. And stock prices still on a record-setting run, with all three major indices closing higher Friday in a shortened trading day. The Dow Jones Industrials up another 68 points, with utilities and phone companies posting solid gains. I'm Patricia Stark, and now back to Hannity. For all your headlines, log on to foxnews.com.
If a company wants to fire their workers, move to another country, and then try to ship their products back into the United States, where we will now have a very, very strong border, we will apply a 35% tax on all of those goods. And you know what's going to happen. Those companies will never leave. As part of our plan to bring back jobs, we are going to lower taxes on American business from 35% to 15%. We will become a rich nation again.
And welcome back to the special edition of Hannity, Trump's Promises. Now, that was President-elect Donald Trump on the campaign trail promising to cut taxes and keep jobs right here in the U.S. And over the course of the campaign, he told me how he plans to do it. Let's take a look. I have asked you this question about the economy before. 95 million Americans out of the labor force, right. 50 million in poverty, 46 million on food stamps. You know what a bad economy is, right? Yeah. And we've doubled the national debt.
Right.
And I think the question is, how do we fix this, and how fast can you do it?
Okay, we can do it fast. We have to bring our jobs back, and we have to stop jobs from leaving. Every day you read about companies, Sean, right? Every day we're reading about companies, great companies, Pfizer, great pharmaceutical companies, moving to Ireland. A lot of companies are moving to Mexico. I mean, Mexico's like China, little smaller version. We're losing so many. Oh, we're going to build a wall. Who's going to pay for the wall? We're going to build the wall, believe me. We're building the wall. You know, with Mexico, we have a trade deficit of $58 billion a year.
China's worse.
Billion. Oh, China, $505 billion. And we're going to stop all that. And we have the greatest, you know many of them, and you know they're friends of mine, and have endorsed me, Carl Icahn. We're going to get the greatest negotiators.
Is that enough to get Americans back to work?
Oh, it's going to be so good. We're losing all of our jobs, folks. We're losing so much. And what they do is the monetary manipulation. They devalue their currencies to such an extent, and they're grandmasters. And we have people in Washington, they don't even know what's happening to us. You take a look at Komatsu in Japan. They make tractors. Look what they're doing to Caterpillar. I mean, so many companies are just absolutely killing us.
You said we're headed for a massive recession.
If I'm not elected. That's right. If I'm not elected.
I have friends in this audience here tonight. Sure. And this city, really do. But this city, with the steel industry, has gone through an economic transformation and difficult times. And I know that this is representative of a lot of America. And I know that probably everybody here wants to hear, how specifically are you going to help them so they can save money and pay for college and get a new car and live in a safe house and a nice neighborhood?
So our jobs are being taken away from us like we're like taking candy from a baby. I use the expression, it's like taking candy from a baby. We have people that are incompetent running our country. We don't know what we're doing. Our jobs are going to Mexico. China is dumping steel all over the place. By the way, all over the world, just so you feel better. But China is dumping steel. The steel mills, I see what's going on. This was the steel capital of the world by far, nothing close. And now I see what they're doing. And you know, before I came today, because I'm making a speech where we have thousands and thousands of people right after this, And I said, give me some statistics. And it's unbelievable how you've lost your manufacturing jobs. You've lost your steel jobs. You look at what's happened with U.S. Steel and all these great companies, these once, these incredible companies. And it's being taken because of devaluation, all of the devaluations. It makes it impossible. It makes it impossible for the companies to compete. And we're losing our jobs. Companies are moving to Mexico. Mexico is becoming the new China. And we got to stop it. And we're going to stop it. And what they're doing, especially in Asia, but especially China, you look at what they're doing with the dumping. But forget the dumping. What they're doing with the devaluation of their currencies is just unbelievable. And we have people that don't do anything about it because our politicians are all taken care of by lobbyists and special interests, and they're told not to do anything. Not that they're stupid, they're told not to do anything.
But I guess it's a razor's edge in some ways, because you're saying you're going to negotiate free and fair deals. But, okay, let's say we limit some of the imports from China, Vietnam, depending on what the product happens to be. That also means American consumers are going to end up paying more.
Well, no.
How do you manage that?
Because we're going to have more jobs. And you know what? You may pay a little bit more, but you're going to have better jobs and you're going to have more jobs. People never say that. These people that don't know what they're doing, I'm a free trader, okay? But the problem with free trade is you have to have leaders on your side that know what the hell's going on. They don't know what's going on. And we don't have those leaders. We have leaders that don't have a clue. You look at what's happening. It's just one company. I hate to pick on them all the time, but I talk about Ford. I talk about Nabisco. I talk about Carrier Air Conditioner. They're moving to Mexico. They let go of 1,400 people. Wonderful people. I watched it on screen.
So when they want to bring their products back, what do we do?
We do nothing. We let them come in. No tax, no nothing. They fire everybody. They move to Mexico. They make their air conditioners. They sell them across the border, which now is going to be a very strong border, folks.
Let me go back to the economy, because this is so important. 95 million Americans out of the labor force. 50 million. This is not a joke. We all know people in poverty. We all know people on food stamps. It used to be in my radio career early on, if anyone lost their job, I can get them a job. I can't get them a job anymore. So the question is, between trade, what else? In other words, how many jobs can we create by becoming energy independent?
Do you know how many millions of jobs have been taken out of our country? And this area is a prime area. Another area where we're really concerned, you look at upstate New York, it's devastation. It's devastation. That's why I go up there. We had 21,000 people in Albany the other night, 2 nights ago. We have 6,000, 7,000 people. It's like a routine crowd. These people are desperate for jobs, and they want their businesses back. And by the way, a thing that's never mentioned, rules and regulations. They put regulations on people and businesses that make it impossible for us to compete. And you look at the people we're competing against, they have no regulations. So we're going to straighten it out.
Do you think, let me go back to this side. If you become president, it's your first day in office. I hate the fact that we rely on countries that hate our guts for energy, which is the lifeblood of our economy. Sure. So my question is, how quickly could we be an energy independent country?
Well, very quickly. I mean, we have technology today that allows us to do things. As an example, this state, they have decimated your coal mines. They have decimated your workers. They have decimated. And, you have things called clean coal. You know what we do? First of all, the mines are almost, they're going to be gone. They're going to be extinct, and they shouldn't be. Coal is great. Coal, we have 1,000, listen to this stuff, 1,000-year and probably more supply of coal for energy. And we're not allowing to use it. And you know what we do with it? We send it to China, and China uses it, okay? The little that we produce now. I'm going to open them up, and we're going to have clean coal. We all want clean coal. We're going to have clean coal, but we're going to open the mines up. In West Virginia, it's devastated because of what they've done. Parts of Pennsylvania are devastated.
We're the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. We have more than any other country.
So much, but we can have that. We should have everything. We should have everything, including renewables. But the problem with the renewables, look, I know more about renewables than any human being on earth because I understand it from a practical standpoint. I love solar. Solar's great. Problem is, it's a 30-year payback. It isn't practical. Technique. It's not there yet. It's a somebody said, oh, it's really wonderful, 32-year payback. Who's going to get 32-year payback? And it doesn't have big power.
Are there millions of jobs, for example, For people in this crowd, are there millions of jobs in the energy sector if we commit as a country to energy independence?
There's millions of jobs in everything. We're losing.
Would you like
everything.
those jobs? Coming up next on the special edition of Hannity.
We're going to get ISIS out. We have no choice. We're going to get them the hell out. We're going to knock them out. It's going to happen a lot faster. Going to happen a lot faster than people think.
President-elect Donald Trump vowed on the campaign trail that he will defeat ISIS as our next commander-in-chief, and also tonight.
I'm asking for your vote so we can repeal and replace Obamacare and save health care for every family in North Carolina.
Donald Trump promised that he will repeal and replace Obamacare, so how will he do it? That and much more on the special edition of Hannity, Donald Trump's promises, straight ahead.
Hillary Clinton wants a 550% increase in Syrian refugees pouring into our country. Her plan will import generations of terrorism, extremism, and radicalism into your schools and throughout your communities. We will suspend the Syrian refugee program, and we will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. We're going to get ISIS out. We have no choice. We're going to get them the hell out. We're going to knock them out. It's going to happen a lot faster. Going to happen a lot faster than people think. Got to get rid of them. But we're going to start winning again as a country. We don't win anymore. We're going to start winning again.
Donald Trump promising to destroy ISIS, and during the presidential campaign, I asked Mr. Trump about ISIS, as well as his plan for vetting refugees and immigrants who want to enter this country. Let's take a look. ISIS, Homeland Security. I'm sure everybody worries about the next 9/11. God forbid ever happens to this country. How do we defeat them, and do you think we need boots on the ground?
Look, we got to knock them out. Now, I was not, and I've said it loudly, I am the most militaristic person in this room, other than maybe Tony. Tony might be bigger, but I will tell you, and I believe so strongly that, but we have to know what to do, when to do it. We should not have been in Iraq. We destabilized the Middle East. Now, then we got out wrong. Obama got us out so badly. When he announced a date and he announced we're going to move, I mean, who ever heard of a thing like this? So we got out very badly. We should have left people behind. We should have had a lot of other things. But we're going to knock out ISIS so fast, and we have to be a little bit unpredictable. You know, Sean is saying, and I have specific things, but we have to be a little bit unpredictable, Sean. I'm so tired of saying, well, we're going to attack them from here. We're going to attack from the road. Don't worry.
You don't want to telegraph it.
I don't want to talk about it. I want to just do it.
I am nervous for our children and our grandchildren. There's this cute little girl in the front row here that I talked to earlier, and she brought up about the safety and security of our country. Specifically, you have said we're going to bomb out of ISIS.
Right.
Do you really believe, do you think it's going to take boots on the ground? Do you think we're going to have to send guys back? Do you think this is an ongoing war that's going to last for generations?
Well, first of all, you know, I was very, very strong on people coming into this country, and nobody wanted to mention it. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And I was very, very strong. And, you know, we're going to have to get a lot tougher, a lot smarter, a lot more vigilant. Otherwise, we're going to have problems like you've never seen before. You know, we used to have armies. You'd fight Japan or you'd fight Germany. They had uniforms on. Now we have people, we don't know who they are. We're letting thousands and thousands of people in our country right now. They have no documentation. There's no paperwork. Nobody knows who they are. They could be ISIS. Some might be ISIS. We better be really careful. And I can tell you, the people that are coming into the country, sadly, they're going to have to go out because we have no idea. We have no idea what we're doing. We have no idea. So, and they're coming in from Syria, and you know, I spoke with a lot of great experts in terms of safety and borders, and they say there's absolutely no idea to judge when you don't have any documents. Now, ISIS is also now making passports. You saw that. They stole the passport machines, so they're now making passports. These are very slick customers. We're going to have to knock the hell out of them. I will say this. I don't want to put people, you know, we've spent probably, if you add it up, probably $5 trillion over there. In the meantime, our country is falling apart. Our infrastructure is falling apart. I was against the war in Iraq right from the beginning, but you shouldn't have gotten out the way they got out. When you look at Obama, what he did.
Take the oil and let him pay for it.
I said, take the oil.
Right.
I said, take the oil. I wrote about Osama bin Laden. I wrote about Osama bin Laden in a book that was published 2 years before the World Trade Center
And you
came
talked
down.
about Brussels ahead of time.
I said about
January.
Brussels. Oh, the New York Times, they killed me. I talked about Brussels. I said 5 months ago, Brussels is a hellhole. And the New York Times did a major story. What right do I have to say that? And then they had the problem. I was right.
But is bombing, do you think, going to be enough, or is it going to be a combination? And is it one of those cases where America, it seems, always has to do the heavy lifting?
Yeah. Let me just say, if we had leadership, we can get other people with the boots. You have the courage. You have people that are willing to fight. But, you know, we don't arm the right people. We don't give the Kurds what they want, but we give other people, and a bullet's fired in the air, they run. I have a friend whose son is over there three sessions. I mean, he's been over there for a long time.
3/4.
And you know, he comes back. He said the saddest thing is when the enemy has better equipment than we have. And you know where they get it? We give it to people. We don't know who we're giving it to. A bullet's fired in the air. They run, and the enemy, ISIS or whoever it may be, takes the equipment, and they now have better and more modern equipment than we do. And we're the ones that put it over there. And one of the things we have to do, we have to take their wealth away.
Do you think this is a
We're not taking their wealth away. We're not bombing the oil. We're sending leaflets down. In an hour, we may be bombing your truck. Please remove yourself from... We don't know what we're doing.
Do you think this is generational, or do you think we could literally... Because I think this is the modern... These are the modern-day Nazis. This is evil in our time.
It's very evil.
And I want to know, is this generational, or can we actually win that war?
I think you can win it, but you're going to have to be very tough. You're going to be really smart. This is...
And you're prepared to fight that to the end.
You know what? This is not like fighting Germany. This is not like fighting these countries that we were able to beat. This is 35,000 people, and they laugh at us, at our stupidity. They can't even believe it. No, think of it. It's true. When we bomb, we send leaflets down. We're going to be bombing your truck. We don't know. You know that, and this is true, they don't want to bomb some of the oil because they don't want to create environmental impact. Do you know that? They don't want to create...
We tell our military, we literally tie their hands. They have rules of engagement that they can't shoot and fire, even if fired upon.
So Hillary goes into Libya, and you have the Benghazi problem, you have all the things. But she goes in. Now, who has Libya? Who has it? ISIS has it.
What is extreme vetting, and what does that mean? And how do you, for example, if somebody grows up in a country where the Clintons take all their money from, if they grow up there and they think that men can tell women how to dress and they can't drive and they can't go to school and you can't build a church or a temple, and you grow up there and then you want to come to America, how do you possibly vet what's in their heart?
Right. Well, let me just tell you, you get very smart people, and there are those people, and they're very good at understanding what's going on. But beyond that, you use social media, because a lot of these people, I mean, they're better at social media than we are. ISIS, if you look at what ISIS is doing with social, they're recruiting over the internet. And I also said we have to end that. We have to knock it out. We have to, you know, some people would say, oh, that's a terrible thing. We have to end that. But John, when you look at what's going on with the internet and how ISIS is using the internet and what they're doing to us, and then you have people in our country that say, oh, you can't do that. That's doing something so bad to us. Here we are, people, they want to blow us up. We have to be very careful. We have to take them out very swiftly, because weapons are getting stronger and stronger, meaner and meaner, and believe me, they want to come over here. Now, again, I was one that didn't want to go over there. But now you have no chance. Really, you have no choice. Now, one thing, when Obama announced when he's going out, and all they did is they sat back. I couldn't believe it. When I was watching this conference, and he was talking about getting out, and when they were getting out, I'm saying, I can't believe that he would say it. And even Hillary Clinton, when she talks about the different things she wants to, why can't we just be quiet and do the job? Why can't we be quiet?
And you said you don't want to telegraph.
I don't want to.
You don't want to telegraph.
No,
right,
I don't want to.
But when you talk about extreme vetting, and you did talk about in the Cold War, we did have ideological test screening, and this goes into your thinking. And how do you stop? How do you possibly know if somebody grows up under Sharia and these extreme viewpoints that are the antithesis of our constitutional
So when you look at San Bernardino, right, which was a horror show, she came in, she probably radicalized the husband. What a couple that was. That was a real beauty. So if they would have looked at social media, they would have seen that this woman was
radicalized.
We didn't look at social media. They just came in. They actually killed people that gave them a baby shower, a baby party. They had a child. The 14 people that were killed, they were at the party honoring the birth of their baby, and then they went in and they shot them all, killed them all. Look, there's something going on. It's a sick deal. It's beyond just
so
normal.
Let me follow up on
Sean, this is a sick deal.
Sick ideology. This is an advancement of a caliphate that wants worldwide either convert or die. Here's my question then. You pointed out that this guy, the father of this Orlando shooter, and he was smiling, as you said, right. And Hillary, and you talked about her stupidity and her weaknesses. And he has explained his radical views. What do we do when we find somebody that has extreme views? Do we throw them the hell out?
I'd throw him out. If you look at him, I'd throw him out. You know, I looked at him, and you look, he's smiling.
Yeah.
He had the red cap on. I thought it was one of my caps. I said, no. Make America great again. I don't think so. But he has the red cap. He's got a big smile on his face during the whole thing. He obviously liked what he heard, okay, from her. Look, we have to be so tough and so smart and so vigilant. And frankly, the Muslims have to help us because they see what's going on in their community. We don't see it. They have to help us. And if they're not going to help us, they're to blame also. But in San Bernardino, they saw bombs laying around the apartment.
They didn't want to say anything.
People saw it, and they wanted to be, they called it racial profiling. We didn't want to call in because of racial profiling. In other words, a lawyer got to them and said, you got a problem here. You knew this was say racial profiling. But look, we have, whether it's racial profiling or politically correct, we better get smart. We are letting tens of thousands of people into our country. We don't know what the hell we're doing.
And up next tonight, right here on Hannity.
I'm asking for your vote so we can repeal and replace Obamacare and save health care for every family in North Carolina.
President-elect Donald Trump, he made a campaign promise to repeal and replace Obamacare. Now we're going to show you how he plans to do that, and also tonight.
We are going to save our Second Amendment
and appoint justices to the Supreme Court of the United States who will uphold and defend the Constitution.
Donald Trump, he'll be naming Justice Antonin Scalia's replacement on the U.S. Supreme Court. Mr. Trump told us what type of justice he'll nominate to fill that void. That and more on the special edition of Hannity, Donald Trump's Promises. Straight ahead.
A Columbia, South Carolina judge rules Dylan Roof is competent to stand trial for murder. The 22-year-old Roof is accused of killing 9 members of a prayer group at a predominantly black church in Charleston last year. The judge's ruling follows a 2-day closed hearing. The trial judge sealed his reasons for the ruling, saying the information could prevent Roof from getting a fair trial. Jury selection will now begin Monday. A Tennessee school bus driver is charged with vehicular homicide after 6 children were killed when he crashed his bus Monday. Authorities say he was not driving on his designated route when the crash happened. Students and administrators had previously raised concerns about John Anthony Walker's behavior while driving. One student said Walker drove too fast and he thought the bus would flip. I'm Patricia Stark, and now back to Hannity.
Premiums are surging, companies are leaving, insurers are fleeing, doctors are quitting. By the way, doctors, they're leaving, they're quitting. I have a friend who's a doctor. He said, I have more accountants than I have nurses. It's so complicated. And deductibles are going through the roof. Yet Hillary Clinton wants to double down and expand Obamacare and make it even more expensive. I'm asking for your vote so we can repeal and replace Obamacare and save health care for every family in North Carolina.
That was President-elect Trump on the campaign trail vowing to repeal and replace Obamacare. Now, earlier this year, I sat down with Mr. Trump and asked him about that very important campaign promise. Let's take a look. You made a promise to release the names so people would know your judicial philosophy.
Right.
You're making a promise to balance the budget. You're making a promise to build the wall. You made a promise you're going to repeal Obamacare
100%.
And replace it with?
Choice.
Replace it
By
with?
the way, you don't even have to repeal it. We're going to do it before it happens.
It's falling
in
on its own
17,
weight.
it's going to implode. And in fact, on November 1st, new numbers are coming out, right before the election. They're trying to change the date. They want to make it after the election. And it's going to show the increase necessary to sustain Obamacare. And it's going to be massive. Everyone's talking about it.
Are these promises?
Don't let anybody change that date.
And you want to replace it with health savings accounts, maybe?
Yes, but there's so many other things. Just so you understand,
Yeah.
once we get competition going with free enterprise, where the insurance companies actually have to go and compete instead of having states as a monopoly, you get rid of the borders, you get rid of the lines, right, where they can't go outside. Once we get rid of that, and they almost had it this time, they could have had it this time, and you would have seen such competition, there will be plans, healthcare plans, that you never even heard about, that haven't even been thought about right now. There will be such competition. It'll be a beautiful thing. The numbers will go way down. First of all, Obamacare is no good. The premiums are through the roof. But have you looked at deductibles lately?
It's huge.
Unless you're
5,000,
dead, unless you're
10,000.
dead or in the process of almost death, you can't use them.
What I'm trying to get to is, with the release of these names, that was a big promise. Balancing a budget is a big promise. Building a wall is a big promise. Repealing Obamacare is a big promise. I understand you're giving a speech next week on energy independence.
Right.
That's a big promise.
In North Dakota.
Building our military, taking care of our vets, those are big promises. Ending Common Core. So my question is, on those agenda items that you have told me about in our interviews, how rock solid are those promises for the people that may be on the fence, that want to know you're going to do those things?
I want to get it all done.
You want to get
Look,
it all done?
Our military, I saw a show the other day where our fighter planes are so old that they go to junkyards to get parts. They call them graveyard, airplane graveyards, to take parts off old planes that haven't been flown in 25 years. They're taking parts off these planes and trying to put them on and fix them on our fighter jets. We are really in trouble.
And coming up next tonight, right here on Hannity.
We are going to save our Second Amendment and appoint justices to the Supreme Court of the United States who will uphold and defend the Constitution.
President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to appoint originalist justices to the Supreme Court. That's next on the special edition of Hannity. Donald Trump's promises continues.
We are going to save our Second Amendment and appoint justices to the Supreme Court of the United States who will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That was President-elect Donald Trump promising to nominate Supreme Court justices who will uphold and defend our Constitution. Now, before the election, I spoke with Donald Trump at length about this very issue. Watch this. Today was a very big day. You have a list of names.
I do.
And you had talked to me for a while now about releasing these names. Your judicial philosophy. You said you wanted originalists. You said you wanted people like Antonin Scalia and Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court.
It's true.
Tell us about this list of names.
Well, I've been having a lot of feedback from a lot of different people, and I've had, as you know, tremendous endorsements, and I'm a conservative, and I may have different views on different things, and I think I'm extremely conservative, as an example, on trade. But a conservative would say I'm not, because I don't necessarily believe only in free trade. You know what I believe on trade is good deals for the United States.
Fair trade.
Well, somebody said to me, what is your view on trade? I said, my view is good deals for the United States. It's a very simple view. And if you can call it conservative, call it whatever you want. But so with the judges, they were saying, well, what happens if he appoints the wrong judges? And what we did, and I just have it, we just took a list of judges, and I thought what I would do is put this forward, and this would be the list that I would either choose from or pick people very close in terms of the spirit and the meaning of what they represent. And, of course, Justice Scalia is mentioned in here as right up front as being just one of our great judges and one of our great justices.
This is your judicial philosophy.
Yes, that's right.
You know, one of the things I think people would question, I had interviewed you a lot during this process, and you gave me very specific things. And one of the top things I would ask you often is your judicial philosophy. And you mentioned, as I said, Scalia and Thomas. They are what we call originalists,
right.
Constitutionalists.
Correct.
You are a constitutionalist.
Correct. Correct. And I'm also, I want high intellect. I want great intellect. These people are all of very high intellect. They're pro-life. And so that's my list. And we are going to choose from, most likely from this list, but at a minimum, we will keep people within this general realm. And again, I have a lot of people that are conservative that really like me, love everything I stand for, but they really would like to know my view, because perhaps outside of the defense of our country, perhaps the single most important thing the next president is going to have to do is pick Supreme Court justices.
This will have an impact for generations to come.
Oh, generations. And I will say, if Hillary Clinton, who is doing very poorly in this whole rigged system that, that Sanders happens to be in, but if Hillary Clinton, for some reason, wins, your country will never be the same, because she's going to put disasters on the Supreme Court. So these are these are the names.
This is interesting, because I think there might have been some people. I've talked to people on the radio show, and some people said, well, Donald Trump's a recent convert to conservatism. And I asked you very specific questions. For example, you know, you say you want a balanced budget. You actually told me once it's immoral to steal from our kids.
Well, I do want a balanced budget. We could do it a lot quicker. I mean, I've heard people say, we'll balance the budget within 20 years. I'm saying, 20 years? What are you talking about? I do want a balanced budget. And you have to understand, I was born in New York, and I really started my business, you know, I was in Brooklyn and Queens with my father, but I moved to Manhattan, and I started doing very, very well in Manhattan. And if you look at the statistics on Manhattan, whether you like them or don't like them, it's very liberal, it's very Democrat, and I think that, probably a lot of people feel because I come from essentially Manhattan, I would be that way. And I wanted to put this list out because I wanted to quell any fears that people may have. I mean, this is a list of people that I got them from people I most respect.
And you vetted each one. You almost did it like a job interview.
Well, I vetted, but to a much greater extent, the Federalist Society vetted and has tremendous respect. Heritage has looked at it, who I have great, great respect for. And I know Senator Sessions has brought the names around to different people in the Senate, and people have seen the list. I mean, people have seen the list.
And coming up, more of the special edition of Hannity, Donald Trump's promises to America. Straight ahead. And welcome back to the special edition of Hannity. President-elect Donald Trump's promises. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have left this evening. As always, thank you for being with us. We hope you'll set your DVR so you never miss an episode of Hannity. We hope you have a great night.